Linda called me on a Wednesday afternoon in October. She introduced herself and said she was calling about the property on Clearwater Drive. She had noticed a slow leak under the kitchen sink and wanted to know the best way to submit a maintenance request. I said, "I'm sorry, which property?" She gave me the address. I knew the address. It was the house Evan and I had bought together in 2019, 2 years before our divorce. A 3-bedroom ranch in a quiet neighborhood. We had rented it out briefly before we separated, but after the divorce we stopped, or I assumed we had stopped because no one had discussed continuing. I asked Linda how long she had been living there. "About 14 months, she said. I asked who she sent her rent to. She said she sent it to Evan. I thanked her. I told her I would look into the maintenance issue and have someone contact her. I hung up and sat at my kitchen table for a moment. Then I made a list. When Evan and I divorced, the property on Clearwater Drive was one of several things we were supposed to resolve, but had not yet resolved. Our attorney had flagged it. We had agreed to sell it or buy each other out, and then other things happened, the way other things do, and it sat in a kind of suspended status. Both our names were still on the deed. I had not thought about the property for months. Linda had been living there for 14 months. 14 months at the rate she'd told me, which I'll keep private, but it was not a small number, and I had not seen a dollar. I called my attorney that same afternoon. She pulled the property records, both names still on the deed, no transfer, no sale, no documentation of any kind reflecting a solo leasing arrangement. She requested the lease agreement from Linda. The lease was a 2-page document with both our names at the top as landlords, an Evan-only contact address, and a signature line at the bottom where my name appeared, signed. I had never signed that lease. I had never been contacted about that lease. I had never been shown that lease. I had never seen Linda's name before she called me about a sink. The signature purporting to be mine had been forged. The bank records came next. My attorney subpoenaed Evan's relevant account statements. 14 months of rent deposits. 14 months of a check arriving on the first of every month and going entirely into an account that had only his name on it. Not half, all of it. The total was not trivial. The total was the kind of number that, when I saw it written down on a single line, made me sit very still for a few seconds. I had owned half of that property. Every check should have been split. He had been collecting my half and his half for over a year from a tenant living in a house I still legally owned, under a lease bearing a signature that was not mine. I did not contact Evan. My attorney advised against any direct communication. Instead, she filed a civil action for conversion of joint property proceeds and forgery of a legal document. Evan's attorney called ours within a week. There was a negotiation. In the interest of not turning a civil matter into a criminal referral, which, given the forged lease signature, was a genuine possibility, Evan agreed to several things. He agreed to repay the 14 months of withheld income, my half, in full. He agreed to complete the outstanding property transfer we had agreed to in the divorce, with me receiving a larger share of the net sale proceeds to account for the delay. He agreed to cover my attorney fees for the process. The property sold 4 months later. I received my portion. I received the back income. Linda, for what it's worth, is a wonderful tenant. She stayed through the sale process and helped coordinate access for showings. She sent me a card when it closed. I think about the leak sometimes. A slow drip under a kitchen sink. A tenant being diligent and responsible, calling the number on her paperwork to report it, not knowing that the person who answered the phone had no idea she existed. If Linda hadn't called, If she had just put a bucket under the sink and handled it herself. If she had emailed Evan instead of calling me, I might still not know. If you have property in joint ownership, especially after a divorce, do not assume it is inactive just because no one has mentioned it. You can request the current ownership record from your county recorder's office at any time. You can set up automated alerts with most county assessor websites that notify you when any document is filed on a property in your name. It takes 5 minutes and costs nothing. If there are tenants in a property you own, they have rights, and so do you. You are entitled to half of every rental income dollar on property you own half of. Linda's call about a leaky sink is the reason I know any of this happened. I am glad she called.